sometime, somehow, we will be punished. Punished?
Hey guys, so last year when I made that video about my alternate perception of Tag der Toten's ending, well, it seems that that's turned into the actual perception, and that's honestly a little surprising. I honestly didn't expect it. I expected the community to be right because they always talk down to me and shit like that, so I'm all like, yeah, fuck it. I'm always wrong anyways. So I might as well just get my perception out there even if I am wrong to make myself feel better, you know? And honestly, it just straight up made me want to say, in Richtofen's voice, Wunderbar! You have no idea how little I care, but how much I've wanted this. Because I've always been a little strange. Ever since World at War, man, I've been seeing things that other people didn't really care about. People were all like, dude, you're just seeing things. That didn't really happen. You should know the truth. And yeah, I know that the Nazis didn't fucking make zombies because that would have been fucking crazy and we would have learned about it in history now. But they did work with the occult. And that is something that I never would have known unless I played World at War. Because World at War got me thinking dude, what the fuck is a Die Glock? So I looked that up. I was like, dude, is the Tunguska event real? And then I looked that up. And I honestly learned a lot about history through Treyarch, and it's helped me throughout junior high and high school, surprisingly. And it's funny because while I know that what they portray isn't 100% accurate, 100% true, that's just how disclosure policy works. It's showing people in such a way that seems fake, but at the same time you're showing them the truth. The fucking Nazis, man, they really did try to create super soldiers. They used dead Jews and they put a serum in them, and they were reanimated for a little bit, but not to the extent of zombies, That shit was just fucking insane, man. And if that ever happened in real life, you bet your ass that the government would be trying to weaponize that shit. But they haven't, at least not yet, that we know of. But the disclosure policy extends far past real-world problems. We think that, the physical is all that matters. Why do you think they started talking about multiple realities? Why do you think they started talking about, spiritual entities? Well, I guess they're not technically spiritual entities to you guys, but they are to me. Dr. Monty and the Shadow Man. To me, those two are pretty goddamn spiritual. One represents light, Dr. Monty. One represents darkness, the Shadow Man. Starting with the multiverse theory, though, because this one actually stems all the way back to World at War, even if you guys don't really see it. So basically, in World at War, in order to persuade myself that this world makes sense, because I was irritated with the game system at the time, because you couldn't customize shit, everything was constantly the same, I decided to change my perspective of zombies. So basically what I imagined was that these are alternate realities, and the reason why is because the box doesn't always have to be in the same location. So if it's ever in a different location, that means you're in a new reality. The guns you get from the box are never going to be the same 100% of the time, so it's a new reality. The guns you buy off the wall isn't going to be the same every single time, so boom, new reality. The perks you buy in which order, never going to be the same, so boom, new reality. I just tricked myself into seeing it as multiple realities, but eventually in Black Ops 2 that was verified. Basically, Stu was hearing Richtofen's voice, and this was when Die Rise came out. I remember this because I was really excited when I heard Richtofen say, "Accept your fate, begin anew." And after he said that, they all fucking died, but their consciousnesses were plopped back into an alternate brain that was compatible with said consciousness, and they basically started over. And I was like, dude, no way. This is the alternate realities. This is how it works. At the time, I didn't quite understand the mechanics, but after I saw that video, I experienced it myself. I got hit by a car, slit my wrist. I did a bunch of horrible shit to myself because of how depressed I was. And I would die and come back, and I was confused at how the fuck I came back. until I realized that we are not our bodies. We're our fucking consciousness, you know? And since we are our consciousness, how does that consciousness get into our bodies? Through the brain, because the brain is like a radio that tunes into that consciousness frequency. So if we are consciousness, why would the characters in the game not be consciousness as well, you know? So that is how that occurs. That is how the multiple realities exist. They're all parallel, but at the same time, a dimension up is the dimension of time, and time is like an open book. Since time is like an open book and not a flowing river how we perceive it in this dimension, that is how it works. The consciousness goes out of one book of time and goes into another book of time. Parallel realities, parallel books of time. Remember the book of time, because that's going to become important later on when we talk about the Dark Aether, or at least all realities in general, but I mentioned Dark Aether because that's what we see in the trailer. To be honest with you, I didn't even consider higher dimensional entities until Black Ops 3. So basically before Black Ops 3 ever even came out, I came back into touch with God because I used to be a Christian, but then things happened and I lost my faith, but then it returned, and I still believe that I am a Christian, but other Christians would not say I'm Christian, but that's my relationship with God, not theirs. But we're not going to get into that right now. So basically, after I became spiritual, fucking Shadow Man and Monty appeared in Zombies, and it fucking clicked in my head. I was like, holy shit. This is what I'm dealing with right now. I'm dealing with light and dark entities. And now we're going to deal with light and dark entities in the game. And as it's gone on, we learn that both Shadow Man and Dr. Monty are corrupted forms of their perspective light and darkness. So Monty, while an entity of light, is corrupted by the fear of death. Fear is darkness. So since he was corrupted by that darkness, he ends up becoming evil because he wants to create a perfect reality by sacrificing Primus. And so he does. Shadow Man is corrupted by love and light. He just wants to go back to the Aether. That's all that he wants. And since he is corrupted by that love and light, he fights so hard to return, and Monty cannot have that corruption in his reality. And through my spirituality, I learned that the entities that I deal with are the same. Basically, there are entities all around us that we can't physically see with the naked eye, and they thrive off of our positive or negative energy. So what we would call demons in this reality, but apothecons in that reality, thrive off of darkness. So any negative thought, any negative action, they thrive off of darkness and negativity. And what we would call angels in this reality, or keepers in that reality, thrive off of light and love. Anything that's positive, they thrive off of. Now, a while back, well, a whole fucking year ago, I mentioned the key to the multiverse. They had destroyed their key to the multiverse, losing access to said multiverse, plunging them into the Dark Aether. The same thing can happen to our reality. Back in Black Ops 1, they had the Vril device. The Vril device looks like an actual book of time. I don't know how to explain it. It doesn't quite look like that device shown to us in the game in Tag der Toten, but it looks like the Vril device. So that is what the Book of Time looks like if you need a physical representation for your brain. Destroying their Book of Time plunged them into a new reality, a new multiverse. So now they are in the Dark Aether, a dark multiverse. The thing is, though, whatever happens in these multiple realities, it would have been regardless. So take into account how extremely different it is in this reality. If this reality was in the regular multiverse, which it very well could have been, because right now we're experiencing the dark multiverse. We're just experiencing a possibility of what could have been, but just in darkness rather than light. So take Divergence, for example. I made this example in the last video that I made yesterday or 2 days ago. So basically, say you have the choice to wake up early or wake up late. One reality decides to wake up early. One reality decides to wake up late. And to make things short, the reality that woke up early, like 50, 60 years down the line, they're on their deathbed, family surrounding them, and they're just living their best life, you know? But the reality that decided to wake up late, they are now fitted with a bunch of augments. Like, they have just augmented everything, you know, to give them infinite life so that they never die of old age. They could still die by getting stabbed or shot, but just no dying of old age anymore. But they are also in an apocalyptic dystopia like the Terminator. See? Two different realities stemming from one choice, either choosing to wake up early or wake up late. That's a very weak example, but you get the point. Every little action matters, so if the reality that decided to wake up early keeps making their best choices, they'll receive their best reality. The reality that woke up late decides to make all their worst choices, so they get their worst possible reality. I believe that it's possible we are experiencing one of those divergences in the Dark Aether. And I could be wrong, don't get me wrong. Basically, that is all to do with the Book of Time. So there are multiple books of time, they don't all have to be identical to one another. They can have slight changes or extreme changes, you know what I mean? And that's the beauty of the multiverse. There's so many different possibilities. And based on your actions, you could plunge yourself into any of those possibilities. The only thing that sucks is that you don't know what's going to happen. But that's why we only have the moment, so you got to be the best that you can be in the moment. So the other possibility, which is a very real possibility I might add, is that Dr. Monty and the Shadow Man got plunged into the Dark Aether with us. Or at least a version of them, you know, because say there are 12 dimensions and Dr. Monty and the Shadow Man are both part of like the 5th dimension or some shit. But since they're not of a really high dimension, we're able to pull them into the Dark Aether, because let's say the Aether and Dark Aether are dimension 6. So we pull them in to this Dark Aether, and now what we have is a corruption of the corruption. So now the Shadow Man is truly pure evil. And now Dr. Monty, well, now he really is pure light. So now what happens is that the Shadow Man and Monty switch places, and now the Shadow Man is going to be the one in control. He's going to be the one, like, pulling all the strings and causing things to happen, you know, while Monty is the one that's trying to get back to the light. And so, you know, Shadow Man stops him. He's like, no, fuck off. This is my reality. This is mine to play with. You had your chance to let me back in, but you didn't let me, so now I'm not going to let you in either. You know what I mean? Either that, or he's trying to just not get back to the light, but try to gain control of this reality to cause some semblance of peace and light to occur, but that's not going to happen in darkness. Another possibility is pure corruption. So Shadow Man will be fully corrupted with the light, and he'll become good once he sees true darkness, while Dr. Monty becomes pure evil after seeing how much power it can give him, as opposed to wanting the perfect reality and light and love and all that shit. Both are real possibilities. Neither are anything that I would know at this moment in time. So all we can do is wait and see. I just wanted to make this video explaining in more detail the Dark Aether and the disclosure policy. I'm definitely going to go into more detail about this in later videos, but I think this is a good place to begin. So, hope you guys have a good one. Thank you for watching my video, and just remember to stay safe out there.